Hey guys, this is Jonathan Henderson with Pressure Washing Marketing Pros. In today's video, I want to go ahead and talk about why you cannot save your way to success in pressure washing. Because it's the winter time right now. It's December 2023 at the time of me recording this video. And so in the winter time, a lot of pressure washing business owners look to where they can cut things, right? So that they can save and survive the winter. They say, what can I cut here? What can I cut here? What can I cut here? So that I can save money for the winter time and just wait till the springtime. In which they don't know that they're getting themselves into an endless rat race, right? Because their businesses never really grow exponentially. They wonder why year after year after year after year, their business is capped out. And surprisingly enough, usually around this time, we have a lot of pauses or cancellations at the marketing agency because businesses are doing that. But this year hasn't been that way for our clients. And there's a couple of factors that I think impact that. But the biggest one I think is that there's less people that are actually advertising. There's less people that are being aggressive with their budget. And so we work with over 75 pressure washing businesses. So I have an idea of what makes a successful pressure washing business and how they exponentially grow. And I have an idea of pressure washing businesses that kind of just stay stagnant. And you begin to pick up, once you work with hundreds of people, you kind of begin to pick up on the traits that really make a successful business and a business that just will never really grow, right? And so I want to impart this wisdom and I want to impart this knowledge onto you guys, because I'm not saying that I'm out here this pressure washing guru. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I learned from a lot of our clients that are doing well above $1 million in pressure washing, not only in one business, but in multiple businesses sometimes as well. And so there's just key indicators that I even learned from myself and applied on my own marketing agency. And so that's why if you want to go ahead and be able to thrive in the wintertime consistently every year, and even in 2024, I know that there's going to be there's financial scares and there's financial scarcity that everybody's saying there's going to be this big market crash in 2024. But if there is, that should be a blessing in disguise, right, for your pressure washing business. And you may not think so. And so I want to go ahead and outline some things that will definitely have your pressure washing business thriving, not only in 2024, but in a recession and beyond. So let's go ahead and get started. Because the first point I want to make is that increased market share, right, is taken and grown in difficult times, not good times. So what does that mean, guys? That means only in difficult times can you increase the market share that you have. So if I'm a pressure washing business that's, let's just say, in Pensacola, Florida, right? What's going to end up happening is if we go through a bad time, what most pressure washing business owners do, and what most business owners in general do when it's difficult times, is they do exactly as I stated in the beginning of this video. They cut, right, from wherever they can. And so they sit on the sidelines. And so if you're not sitting on the sidelines and you continuously market, you're going to take that market share from your competition, because while they're sitting on the sidelines, you're getting new customers, right? You're putting yourself in front of new customers. You're out there and you're showing your visibility, and more people are getting to know you. So you're taking more of that market share. And so I even see this, when I'm running ads, especially Google ads, is that we get very good results for our clients. And so there's a lot of other agencies, and there's also a lot of businesses that are running Google ads that either can't get results, right, or they're just cutting back on the results. And so a lot of our clients are doing fantastic because guess what? We have way less competition. And so some of my clients' businesses have grown 2 to 3x this year alone. And why is that? It's not necessarily because of what we're doing for them. No, I wouldn't be so arrogant to go ahead and say that. But what I believe is that people aren't as aggressive as they used to be, right? And so if you continuously advertise even through difficult times like that, that is where you increase your market share. Because it's just like a stock, it's just like crypto, whatever it may be. What do they tell you? Buy low, sell high. But this time you're just continuously just buying the market low, right? Because guess what? In good times, and that's especially in 2020 and 2021, and I would say the 2020 and the 2021 kind of era, in the COVID time, man, everybody could sell pressure washing like hotcakes, right? That was a time period where people were confined to their homes, so it didn't matter how you advertised. If you threw something at the wall, it was going to stick no matter how good you were, no matter how aggressive you were. There was a lot of the piece of the pie to go around. But once that pie shrinks, once that slice shrinks, then at that point it's very difficult, right? And so when you stop marketing, when you stop advertising, at that point, you're decreasing your market share. And like I said, you can only increase your market share, guess what? During difficult times, whenever your competition is sitting on the sidelines. And the benefits also of not saving your way to success, and you're actually marketing in difficult times, you're actually continuously pushing the needle in your business, is that you set the pace for the rest of the market, right? You're going to be the one that's setting the pace. You're going to be the one that's, for example, like let's just use Google Ads as an example, right? You're going to be the one that's going to be setting that cost per click, right? Because you're the one that's really the only one advertising. So therefore, you can go ahead and manipulate that to your own standards. You can go ahead and drive down the cost for a lot of different things, right? Because you're the forefront. You're the leader that's pushing it the most. And so that's why I said you dictate that market that you have whenever you're the only one that's continuously pushing the needle, right? And you can grow your business at the expense of your competition without spending a lot of money. And that's just what I brought up just now, right? Is that you don't have to spend a lot of money, because guess what happens? And a lot of guys will say that, oh, Google Ads, not even Google Ads, but just advertising costs have skyrocketed. And I actually see a little bit different. A lot of our clients have saved more money actually this past year than they have in previous years, because right now, like I said, it's more difficult in that time, right? So we are actually spending a lot less, right? So if $1,000 used to get us 20, 25 leads at that point, $1,000 now is getting us 30 to 35 leads, right? We're extracting much more out of our budget because there's less competition, guys. You know what I mean? Because now when there's more competition, when there's more people in the fray, and there's, more abundance in the market, at that point, people are willing to pay more, right? Because they know they're going to receive it back, and they have that certainty that they're going to receive it back. But when there's uncertainty, they don't, they don't spend. And so that's why you want to be able to go ahead and still be aggressive, right? And another thing that people don't look at as a benefit as well, and it can also be a negative, but one thing that people don't look at, and it's something that's kind of hidden, is that when you go ahead and you're aggressively marketing like that, especially if you have a team, it galvanizes them, which basically what it means, galvanizes, like it reassures your team basically, right? It motivates them. You know what I mean? So when your employees see that, when your customers see that you're unaffected by, whatever's happening in the world, whatever tumultuous things or whatever difficult things are going on in the market, right? When they see that you're still continuously pushing the needle, you're going to gain more confidence. Just think about it. You guys that have been, kind of interested in our services, that are watching or listening to this video or podcast, right? The biggest thing right now is that if you saw our company was pushing the needle, we were still advertising, we were posting good client results, that would just, let's just be completely honest, that would give you a sense of confidence in our company. So think about that with your customers. If all of a sudden they see that you are posting every single day, right? And then all of a sudden, just in the wintertime, you just stopped posting, and you stopped posting for 6 to 8 months. Do you think that's going to go ahead and increase the confidence that your customers have in you? Probably not. Also, if you're cutting back on all these things right now, what does that signal to your employees? Because even if you start cutting different employees, like, hey, we got to let go of you, we got to let go of you, you think that's going to motivate the rest of the team that's with you right now? That's not going to motivate them. That's going to make them go somewhere else with somebody that they can actually trust, somebody that can weather them through that storm. And so that's one hidden thing that people don't look at as well, is that when you try to save your way to success, it doesn't set a good example for your entire company, right? Whether it's your employees, your customers, and even your vendors, right? So the next thing I want to talk about is that whenever you're not aggressive like that, you start from ground zero again. So let me give you an example. We had a client recently, they wanted, and usually it's the exact opposite, but this client was doing SEO and Google Ads with us, right? And they just said, you know what? And he watches these videos, so he might know who he is, right? But he stopped his SEO and he said, I just want to run Google Ads, right? Well, I told him, I said, man, look, we're on the first page for every single thing, you know what I mean, in your market, right? And we've only been doing SEO for 6 to 8 months, and he's in a pretty competitive market, right? And so he said, I know, Jonathan, you guys have been doing a great job, but I'm trying to save money, right? He's like, I'm trying to save money, Jonathan, right now. Google Ads is instant, it's fast, you know what I mean? SEO, it takes a long time, and I want to be number one. And I told him, I said, well, look, man, you've been in business for 5 to 6 years, and we've had the best SEO results out of all the companies that you've worked with, right? I told him this. But the biggest thing about it is that it's not, I'm starting to see now, it's really not the companies that he's necessarily working with a lot of the time. It's himself shooting himself in the foot, right? And what that means is that whenever things kind of get difficult, he's gonna go ahead and shut it off. And you have to think of SEO, and you have to think of anything, right, when it comes to business progression and business growth as a NASCAR race, right? So for example, if you're a business and you've only been in business for 2 to 3 years, and there's another business that's been in business for 10 years, right? You know, think about it as a NASCAR race. I'll say it again, guys. That business has been in business for 10 years. He's about 400 laps ahead of you, right? And then here's you, and you're just getting on that racetrack now, right? And you have 400 laps to make up. Well, if he's going 150 miles per hour, and let's say you're going like 150 miles per hour, you'll never be able to catch up with him, right? You'll never be able to catch up with him. That's why you have to align yourself, and you have to do things differently than the other guy that has 400 laps ahead of you, right? So that means you need to get in a car that's going to go 300 miles per hour while he's going 150. You'll be able to eventually catch up to him. And even if you don't catch up to him per se, you're going to get much more close and be in a better position regardless of the fact, right? So whether you take that when it comes to your overall business growth or one growth mechanism like SEO, every time you try to go ahead and get ahead, right, guys, you're going to just be falling back over and over again. And like I said, that is actually costing you more money, which I will get to in a minute, right? It's costing you more money than it is gaining you more money in that, right? So stop going ahead and, stop starting from ground zero, because starting from ground zero is actually hurting you and costing you more money than what you think. Because it brings me to my next point, is that we never consider the missed opportunity cost, right? We never consider the missed opportunity cost. Every time, and I'm guilty of it. As a business owner, we look at things with just the risk, or we look at our position that we're in right now. We never look at the positive, right? Like most people, when they think of like advertising, or they think of anything that we do in business, right? We never go with the expectation, or we never go with the outlook of the most positive. Either we go with our current outlook of our businesses right now, or we go with the outlook of what's the worst that can happen is this, right? So what do I mean by that? I'm gonna use advertising as an example right now, because that's the industry that we're in, right? And so with advertising, we either look at it like, okay, what can advertising do for my business right now, right? What can it do for right now? And we expect the results to be the results that we're getting right now. So for example, if I'm trying to invest into advertising, I'm saying, is this a good idea for the next 6 months? And I'm not considering that in the next 6 months, if I invest in advertising, that my business is probably going to change if I partner with the right person in the next 6 months, right? So the results in the status of my business right now is not going to be the same as it is 6 months from now. So why am I making this decision based off of where my business is right now, or where my business can be at, right? Or we think about in the worst case scenario, like, oh, I'll lose this money. And that's not a bad mindset to have, but there's a better mindset to have, right? There's a better mindset to look at things in the sense of, missed opportunity cost, right? What happens if I don't advertise? You know what I mean? You look at it and say, how many more customers am I not reaching out to? Because a lot of people look at it like, oh, I spent this much on my advertising this month, instead of looking at it like, okay, I got 15 new customers. These 15 new customers right here, right? What if I never got these 15 customers at that point from this advertising? We never think about it. What's the missed opportunity cost if I don't advertise at all? If Jonathan says he can give me at least 20 to 25 leads, right, for every single month, and he's doing that over a year time frame, that's 200 to 250 people that I can be adding to my CRM that I'm missing out on right now. If Jonathan says he can add 20 to 25 new customers every single month at a very minimum, right, and his company can do that, why wouldn't I do that, right? And you start to think to yourself like, okay, this can happen, this negative thing can happen, this negative thing can happen, right? And you say, okay, I have to spend this much money. And like I said, as a business owner, that is perfectly fine to do. But what you're not considering is that if you don't pull that trigger and you don't make that move, it doesn't have to just be advertising with that. It could be that brand new employee that you have, right? To where, if you hired that brand new employee, then at that point, they get jobs done 3 times as fast as what you would just do, right? And you look at it and you say, but I'm not going to be as profitable. Well, how do you know you're not going to be as profitable if you hire that new employee? Because now that new employee is getting jobs done twice as fast. You as a company, you guys are going twice as fast now, which that opens up more opportunity for you to get more jobs done, so that now you have more time, and with more time, you have better ideas, right? You have better ideas, and you also have more of your time to invest into growing your business at that point, right? And so we never look at the opportunity cost of what happens if we don't do something. You know what I mean? If I don't advertise, then I could potentially miss out on these 200, 250 customers. What is the revenue that would cost me? You know what I mean? So we never look at the missed opportunity cost of like, what if I don't do this? How much money am I losing? We just look at it like, how much money will I lose if I do this? You know what I mean? We never look at it like, how much money will I lose if I don't do this? So that's the simple way that I could have put it, over this last 5 minutes, right? The fourth thing I should say I want to go ahead and talk about is, if you don't go ahead and you push that needle and you try to save your way to success, you never operate outside of your comfort zone, right? And what that means is you're not conditioning yourself to find solutions whenever you get in a difficult spot, right? You're never conditioning yourself to find solutions, and that's what you want to go ahead and do, because that's why guys don't grow consistently over time. You know what I mean? That's why they don't grow consistently over time, because they're not conditioning or training themselves to find solutions whenever they hit a difficult spot in their business. They go, okay, I'm going to do what I always do, right? Which is save, which a lot of guys do in the wintertime. I'm going to cut back on these costs. I always cut back on my SEO. I always fire a couple employees in the wintertime. I take this vacation during this wintertime, whatever it may be, right? They cut back, right? And you don't want to go ahead and do that. You don't want to go ahead and cut back, because you'll never know how to operate outside your comfort zone. Sometimes, guys, it takes you operating out of your comfort zone to find those solutions. Because if you don't find those solutions, you don't have the data at that point. Because that's one big thing, is data. Whenever you're operating outside of your comfort zone, at that point, it gives you the data that you need. So you might say, Jonathan, what are you talking about? Well, what I mean is this. If you never advertise in the wintertime, how do you know the type of results that you get in the wintertime? Right? If you don't hire people in the wintertime when you think that you don't have enough cash in that wintertime, then how do you train how do you know how well the individual is going to be come springtime, right? Because a lot of the bigger companies that we work with, they'll actually hire more in the wintertime, because they'll train these guys up over the course of like 2 months where, yeah, they know things are slow, but also the expectation's not high and the volume's not high and the pressure's not high. So with the employees that they're training during that wintertime, they can take it slow, right? If they make a mistake, it's not like you have 500 jobs that are on the books. You know what I mean? And so that's why you want to operate outside your comfort zone, because you're going to find solutions. You're going to train yourself to find solutions. You're going to train yourself, not even train yourself, but you're going to get the most data that you can possible. Because with better data, the better decisions you can go ahead and make at that point. And you're not going to have that data if you're not operating out of your comfort zone. How do you know, you know what I mean, how many employees you can manage if you never hire an employee? How do you know how good a salesman would be that you would have if you never hire a salesman? So these are things that you have to consider. How do you know how well Facebook ads, Google ads, or SEO, whatever it may be, will work for your business if you never pull the trigger on it? So those are things that you need to go ahead and consider. You need to consider being outside of your comfort zone, because if you never operate outside the comfort zone, it's the equivalent of going to the gym, and every time you're getting that muscle fatigue, anytime it starts to get a little bit fatigued, you drop the weight. Will you ever grow muscle that way? You'll never grow muscle if every time you lift, as soon as you feel a little bit of fatigue, you're like, okay, I stop. And that's what you guys do in business. That is exactly what you guys do in business. As soon as you're doing some dumbbell curls, you get to that fourth set, and you're like, oh man, or you get to that fourth rep, and you're like, oh, I kind of feel something. You guys put the dumbbell down, but in the gym, you don't. You go until that 10th, 12th, where you're like, right? And you get that last rep in. That's what you have to do in business as well, because you keep training yourself. You know what I mean? You want to bleed in practice so that you can, have success in war. I think that's somewhat like the quote goes, guys, right? But you want to bleed in practice so you don't bleed in war at that point, right? And that's what you guys want to go ahead and do in your own business. So to summarize, guys, my points, I actually really have 4 main points, is that you increase your market share, in difficult times Not in good times, because in good times, everybody's trying to market. In difficult times, not everybody's trying to market. Number two, you start from ground zero every single time, which is costing you money, right? You start from ground zero every single time, and you have to make up that step, because you'll take 5 steps forward, and then you'll take 6 steps back, and you don't want to do that. The next thing is going to be missed opportunity cost. We never consider the jobs that we miss out on, right? We never consider the jobs like what's the cost if we don't do this? We always look at the costs of what happens if we do this. How much money can we lose? Okay, I have to spend $1,500. I have to spend $2,000. Okay, I have to pay this employee X amount every single month. We just look at that instead of, okay, what are the opportunity costs if I don't hire this employee? Well, then at that point, we're not completing as many jobs. If we don't complete as many jobs, then I don't make this amount of money, right? We don't look at things like that a lot of the time. And then the last one I just went over is you never operate outside of your comfort zone so that you condition yourself to find solutions. And so hopefully this video sheds some light so that you guys aren't trying to save your way to success going forward in 2024 and beyond, because you guys deserve to have that success that you're looking for. So I really hope that this video helped you out. I really hope that you guys crush it in your pressure washing businesses and you crush it in 2024. If you need help with your marketing, then you can go ahead and click the free strategy session URL in the description. And also, if you have any questions, what you guys can go ahead and do is leave comments, right? I'm always looking at your guys' comments. Me, my team, we look at your comments, and so I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have. But other than that though, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.